We'll be back from the break. You're still watching Smart Means Business, your daily Kickstarter. I'm Andrew Barija with Master Katsuma here, driving your business definitely as we bring you that right information, which I believe is quite very key and instrumental for decision making and implementation for your business. Well, as we proceed, don't forget the markets on the Zabo platforms, which will be opening anytime from now. It's just now a countdown. We're left with just about 11 minutes now. It's quite very simple for you to be a part of them. It's just there, *92#, which will lead you to quite a number of options where you'll be in position to buy government bonds and securities for a fee of just 15,000 yen shillings. Now the markets will be opening at exactly 8:15 a.m. running all the way to 3:15 p.m. This is effective Monday up to Friday, apart from the weekends and the public holidays when these markets cannot be accessed. But of course, despite that, you have the rest of the days to make yourself some money, to capitalize and make some profits for yourself. And I believe it's very instrumental for your growth and development financially. Zabo make this a reality. Regardless of your location, you can actually own government bonds and securities. Zabo simply says, my money, my future. And also South Africa also says, do something new. It's the year 2023. Well, right about now, let's get into our business tips and quotes. What can we talk about like Stanley Road? As long as you're going to be thinking, think big anyway. If you decided to think.
Right there,
if you
a
decide
former president of the United States, Donald Trump, giving out his thinking as well.
If you decided to think, man, don't think average.
Think big. But you see, by the way, I realized these influential people, rich people that we know. Example of Donald Trump, some people have been actually lucky. Luck? Should I say luck is there or
okay, luck? Okay, this is the thing. I don't believe in luck pattern. Because sometimes we think, you see, let me tell you something before even you proceed there. What I've come to realize with life is that majority of the people that have actually gotten breakthroughs which have transformed their life forever. There is a pattern I've observed, and it deals with positioning. You know, I may not be waking up early to work every day, but I have a knowledge that if I meet so and so, he can actually lead me here. But the bigger picture is that you need to know what you want, and you follow that pattern of positioning yourself, there is no luck. I mean, you can't be there. You didn't plan to meet somebody, you know. Okay, there is nothing you're chasing in life, and you just wake up like that, and you boom, you're there. I don't think things happen that way. I don't believe in luck, by the way. I don't believe. I believe all the people we see, they have worked for that place, for them to be positioned to be where you see. For you, just think this was just a random guy that was found in the street. Probably that person was on the street knowing that whenever I'm on the street, I know at such a time there is so and so who passes by here, and that person went ahead to understand, how do I get this person's attention?
What
it was
about
deliberate.
What about those that are born into it?
Born into it, it's different.
It's different
Because still you can be born into it and you lose it, and you make and you find out something which you mess it up, which has been built for centuries. For years.
I believe that is the problem we have recently. You know, when it comes to taking over, I mean, parents are finding it challenging. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, once I leave this earth, you know, you think through and look at your children.
You're different.
Who's really capable of really...
Now sustaining, that's a very key point. You see, when you mention something that if you're born into it, that despite the fact that you're born into it, there is a responsibility that you hold, you know, to make it. Because still, I gave birth to you, we found this here, but we need to keep it moving. I don't want it to end with you. Actually, you have more pressure than somebody who has not been born into it. Do you realize that?
Yes, I realize the generation we're in, things for ourselves, you know, up to, you know, following up, you know, on the family longevity
activities and stuff.
Yes, businesses and longevity.
It's because that's what we are grown up being told, that you know, you're working for your dad tells you, I work for mine, you also have to work for yours. So even I will tell my son the same.
No, just imagine that is why we have instances of children born in rich families, you know, out there, and the child is choosing to do his own things, and of course, you know, I believe before you really become of a certain age of understanding means to have a legacy, having someone to leave something for once you're gone, because our dream is chasing, and the dream becomes the dream, definitely. But you have to realize,
but we don't have
the thing maybe your father started has to, if it was successful, it has to go on. So definitely, maybe it could add you more income. So imagine you're out there chasing your dream, or maybe you're into music. You know, you can be a faded artist. So when you're faded, what are you going to do? You know, you have to have backup plan. That is why you see, for maybe like Indians, they have their children into. You know, but at a certain age, when you maybe clock like 10 or 12, you start going with your father.
Your father, yeah.
To the shop, you know how things are done. You know how to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, I think that is a culture we need to build for our children forcefully. If the child is not willing, you know, you can get another one who is really interested.
But I think once the child can only get interest, it's you to make him get the interest.
Yes.
From childhood, not when he's already grown up.
Yes.
You see, there is something I believe. I might go a little bit. I might sound spiritual, but this is the thing. I believe the reason as why we don't really care, we live for ourselves. In most cases, it's because, first of all, we don't have visions.
Yes, true.
A dream is short term, and it's about you. Vision is for generations.
Definitely.
And you can have a vision that is 10 generations ahead of you, and probably that vision is to do with transforming, or probably you want music, entertainment. I'm assuming industry, but in the year 4000, I'm telling you, we call visions which impact. The great nations we look up to till today, the United States of America. People had those visions centuries way back, and now these are their. That's why they're what they call the founding fathers. Centuries before, and now these are their children. Full great. I don't know how many generations is that. Now that's what I call a vision. And visions, in most cases, are in line with forming nations, not just a business of 500 million. What's 500 million for 10 generations? I know these are facts, by the way. These are facts, and if we position ourselves to that, and it's because I feel like we've not come to realize that there is what they call eternity. You know, because you can always ask yourself that. Because once you're out and you're dead, let me say that, you can't operate the business any longer, whichever place you will be. The moment you get to see your children suffering, you'll be tormented yourself. That's enough to torment you in eternity, right? But if you know that you left a legacy, you're going to be in peace, right? So if the earlier you get to that realization that, you know, despite the fact that I'll find my peace in eternity when I know that I left something that is running the economy and running all that, once you get to that realization much more early, we shall stop living for ourselves, and we shall stop dreaming, and we shall seek visions. Trust me.
Oh, well, of course, that is you getting souls. You know, that's spiritual. Like you said,
I might sound spiritual, I don't know, but I just say it.
It's actually deep. But of course, you realize I read somewhere, and I said a parent is happy, like the least happiest child, his least happiest child is only happy as his or her least happiest child. I mean,
the parent is happy?
Yes. If your list, that's the sadness your child is in, that is, okay, you feel your happiness is based on
how happy.
You're happy, how happy.
So how happy I am determines how happy my parents will be.
Yes. Yes.
So if I'm not happy,
definitely they'll never settle into them, really. How
do they know that I'm happy?
I mean, when not that happiness. You know, when you may not actually have everything really, but you're in
So can they feel my emotions?
Not emotionally, but because if you open up to them, really, if you open up to them. But of course, you know, parents have always been parents. There's a way they have those intuitions and they can tell. So if you are maybe, let's say, a graduate and you're 3 years down the road and you're still struggling. There is no way a parent would ever feel at peace, and they eat fine, they eat breakfast, you know. So definitely, as I said, we need to have something for our children, you know, a plan for our children just in case. That's why I've been talking about skills, you know, other than them going to school. What is this other thing they can do on their own, you know, that will earn them something at the end of the day? You could be actually at home but earning. You could do bakery, you could do baking, you could do makeup or something to get you something at the end of the day, because I mean, you're 25 years, you're still living in your father's house. You need things. I mean, just imagine you are calling or you have to, how do you start begging? I'm just imagining the scenario. You're in front of your father, your mother, and you are begging, well, absolutely. Can I have some data money? So definitely, you see, it's data. So that is why some parents are harsh on their children. Immediately after campus, they are like, no, I'm not responsible for you. But
you see the challenge. Why at 25 you're still at your father's place is that, you see, once you were exposed to work, because the first time you're free in your entire lifetime as a child is when you get your piece of vacation. But remember, the parent tells you, stay home, watch movies. Senior 4, the same, stay home, watch movies, because they're being protective. And now they only realize that actually you're becoming a burden after you're done with the campus. But
because they expect
let me tell you, your attitude towards work is groomed from childhood, by the way. It's not groomed after campus. You see, you may have the best grades, but because you're so used to sitting home, your brain can't even think.
Yes.
But once you're exposed to work, okay, piece of it might be too early, but at least once you hit senior one, holidays, get work. Probably your uncle has a farm somewhere. Send your child there. Let them work. So that by the time they reach senior 4, they're thinking of, oh my goodness, this vacation, I have to buy myself this. But senior 4 vacation, what they're thinking about is movies.
I must say, really,
it's groomed. It has to be groomed.
I have had testimonies of people who have grown up from, up country, and they will tell you, even when they're in Kampala here, they'll tell you, I have a plantation of coffee, I have matoke, I have beans. So you see, it's a culture their parents, have created in them. At least you have to have something back home that could earn you something. You just imagine, and the person will be like, I called my mother, and probably that the beans were harvested, and I have 3 bags, and she's sending me half of it goes to those that have been helping out. So at the end of the day, you have something for yourself, because that is a culture. Once you're in holidays, you have to go and do something for yourself. The same applies to those that have businesses. Right. in holiday, you have to go and help out. Yeah.
Okay, it's 20 minutes past 8. You're still watching Smart Men's Business. I'm here with Marcy Katsume as we're driving your business all the way. Well, now let's get into our other discussion, and this is in line with cross-border trade and getting to understand the challenges that still facing this particular trade. But of course, after this discussion, we shall also take a look at the logistics performance, because you can't talk about cross-border trade and then talk about logistics, because it's the means in which that is made possible. Now, in this discussion, we have Honorable Eddie Kwizera, the Member of Parliament, that is Bukimbiri constituency. Let's get into this, and we shall be returning to sum this up.
As a country now, Uganda, we have we have borders. Kenya, we have Tanzania, we have Rwanda, we have DRC and Sudan, Southern Sudan. So the issue that we still have to promote cross-border trade is that we have different trade policies and trade taxes and tax regimes. They are different. Whereas in this country we think we can export everything that is manufactured here, we find that in other countries like Kenya, they don't want to receive some of our goods, like milk, like eggs. They think that they are not up to standard, even in maize. So even in Sudan, they say our maize are not to standard. The quality is not good. So that one is a very big challenge to businessmen. When you go to DRC, you find that there is the limited presence of government. There is a high risk of security. There is a likelihood of losing your commodities. So it becomes also a hindrance in a trade. And when you go to Rwanda also, the standards of Rwanda in agriculture and manufactured goods, they prefer with those good international standards. But our products here are regarded to be inferior. So the rate of imports in Rwanda to enter our imports becomes very, very limited. It's same with Tanzania. They have their own things about sugar. We bring in a lot of rice through Tanzania, even when it is not grown in Tanzania. But now it has they promote almost legalized corruption, because the government of Uganda here is doing it selectively. It picks on some businessmen to bring rice, and they are doing it not fairly. Instead of trade being free, but now you say they regulate, this one brings this. So that one is a very big challenge also. Of course, even the infrastructure that would be on the border to promote trade, there would be immigration and customs. But in some areas you don't find, although they are crossing points, but there are no customs. So you cannot trade freely. In our place in Chisoro, we find there is a lot of insecurity across, and of course the roads are inaccessible in the DRC. So those are some of the challenges that promoting border trade they are still facing. Generally, the flow of trucks or the flow of migration traffic is being hampered. So there is a lot of non-tax barriers. Bureaucracy is high, and the documents which are being demanded are high, yet East Africa is one. So we thought that one East Africa would promote the harmonized trade policies, but those ones they haven't reached on that one. No, they would be promoting East African Customs Union, where there would be free movement of goods and free movement of the people. But those things are on paper more than how it is political on the practical on the ground. That's a very big problem. See, another issue is that we want to export, but do we have enough? At times you don't have enough food. So, but can you import? You import when there is a surplus. But even here there is a shortage. You may find there is a lot of maize in the central region, but you go to southern region, you go to northern region, you find they don't have. So much of the things we produce here, we even don't consume them like coffee, like powdered milk. You don't consume because people have maybe no capacity to buy, because even the production costs of those things are very high. I can give you an example of the milk plant in Ichisoro, which is the Virunga milk plant. It is there, but the production costs because of water, because of utilities like electricity, it is very high. So the cost of production becomes very high, and they are outcompeted. So when you export them, you may know factories which are here, they need to have subsidized utilities rates.
Well, that's in matters in regards to cross-border trade, and definitely we can't talk about cross-border trade and don't talk about the transport and logistics and freight transport report. Now, of course, as we take a look, probably we can have a display of the performance that is for the last 10 years, looking at 2010 up to about 2020, yes, 2007 up to 2019. Of course, 2016 having its highest peak of how the industry performed. Now, of course, that really indicates the volume of the goods that are moving into the country and they're coming out of the country through that. Now, in Uganda, the overall freight volume is anticipated to rise in 2023, this very year, and due to years of underinvestment in rail and waterways. However, businesses will continue to rely mostly on roads in comparison, that is, to other transportation systems. Now, as a result, there will probably be more supply chain interruptions and congestion issues. Now, of course, the long-term growth in freight volumes will result from opening of new road and rail infrastructure. And now that is the Uganda Logistics and Freight Transport Report. And now we can also see that the report analyzes the utilities of infrastructure, transport systems, trade procedures, and supply chain risks, of course, which are associated with Uganda, just like the Member of Parliament has actually been putting it out there as a result of that. And now let's wait. We're already into halfway into this year. I don't know. Of course, we shall be getting to find out the actual other statistics in relation to the first 6 months. How has it been like? Of course, the results of the cross-border trade can actually give us a picture and a hint of how really this year is going to be like.
Of course.
Yes, well, it's 8:27, and now let's head into the break, and we shall be returning with our business and entertainment. What is happening in there? But of course, don't forget still the markets on the Zabo platform. As I speak right now, they are on. STAR292# is the code for you there, which will avail you with a number of options where you will be in position to actually buy government bonds and securities for a fee of just 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, the markets open at 8:15 a.m., running all the way to 3:15 p.m. East African time, effective Monday up to Friday, apart from the weekends and the public holidays when these markets cannot be accessed. But despite that, you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make yourself some profit, something which I believe is very key and influential for your growth and development financially. Zabo made this a reality regardless of your location. You can actually buy bonds and securities just 15,000, and still remember that on top of STAR292#, you have to register with your national identification number so that you can proceed efficiently. Zabo simply says, my money, my future. And all that East Africa says, do something new. Remember, it's the year 2023. And now let's get into the break. When we return, entertainment and business.